I was finishing up a recording the other day when I noticed something strange out of the corner of my eye. There was a chest, one that I didn't place, so I walked over to the chest and to my surprise, inside the chest there was a book. Now, I immediately thought that this was one of my friends who had logged onto my computer and did this while I was gone. But when I opened the book expecting to find some funny message, all it had was a link to a YouTube video. I was just gonna ignore it, but then I figured if one of my friends did leave this for me, I kinda wanted to see what it was. So I copy and pasted the link into Google, only to then get taken to a video titled Hello World. But what was strange is this video was on my channel as unlisted, but I never made this video. Now, at this point, I was getting worried that I was hacked or something, but then I started watching the video, and the world he was in was the exact same world I was in, and his Minecraft skin was the exact same Minecraft skin I use. But then we see him do something strange. He places a dark oak log down and then puts a chest on top of it. But then, something even weirder happens. He starts walking somewhere, and while he's walking, he seems to be looking for someone because he keeps randomly turning around. But after a while, he just starts running, as if he's running towards something. Now, I knew there was nothing on this world because it was an empty world I had just used for a YouTube video and I barely touched it. This would also probably be a good time to mention that this is a single player world, meaning there is no way he should be able to interact with it. But after walking for a while, you can start to see some kind of structure in the distance. But again, I've barely touched this world, and I definitely didn't build this structure. So if I didn't build it, maybe he did. After a bit more walking, he heads straight towards the structure, and you start to see what it is. It appears to be what looks like a house, one that is terribly, terribly built. He then types in chat and says, "I'm not allowed to talk, so this will be my only message." I wasn't sure why he wasn't allowed to speak. Maybe he just didn't have a microphone or didn't know how to record audio. But after that, the video just ends. No outro, no goodbye, nothing. And I was left with more questions than I started with. How did this person enter my world, and how did they get access to my YouTube channel? I then started searching around my channel for any other clues, seeing if they deleted anything or changed anything at all. At first, all I found was that my profile picture was altered, but then I noticed something really, really weird. A community post on my channel from 10 days ago saying, "Who is this?" But again, I never wrote this, because why would I post something saying, "Who is this?" on my own channel? And that was it. I thought the trail would end there. I mean, the video was over and there was no way to find out who this was. But then I had an idea. Maybe I could communicate with this person by making my own video. I mean, if they're still logged into my YouTube account, they should see it. So I started recording. And please prepare yourselves, because this is about to get very, very, very strange. I started off back in the world by the chest, and just to double check, I pressed tab and yep, I was the only one online. And then I remembered the weird house that I didn't build, and so I followed the same path he took. But while I was walking there, I noticed something strange. On the ground, there was a book, one that wasn't there in his video. I picked it up and opened it, and it said, "Go to the house." This started to freak me out a little bit. It now seemed like this person's entire goal in making that video was to lead me to this house. I continued walking for a little bit, and then eventually I reached the house. And not gonna lie, I was shocked that it was actually there. I mean, this was concrete proof that someone had been here. Someone was in my single player world. It shouldn't be possible for anyone to join. But then I started looking at the house, and the more I looked at it, the more it felt off. This didn't look like the type of house anyone would build. It looked almost laughable at how bad it was. I was trying to get a better look at it, but as I was walking around, I heard a strange noise. It was faint, but every time I moved, there was 2 sets of footsteps. But again, I was the only one on this world. I pressed tab to double check and there was nobody there. Wait. I pressed tab and there was a player list. This isn't normal. In single player worlds, pressing tab doesn't do anything. So why is it showing a player list? Either way, there was nobody on the player list, so I assumed it was an audio glitch and carried on. I went back to looking at the strange house and I noticed something. There was a random assortment of items scattered throughout the house on item frames. The first was a hay bale in the entrance, and then there was a block of endstone in the back. Then, on the roof, there was a lectern. I didn't know if these blocks were some kind of hidden message left behind by the person who made the video, but I figured I should pick them up just in case. The final block was in the back, and it was a podzol. I'm gonna be completely honest, I had no idea what these blocks being there meant. But I walked through the house one more time to see if I missed anything, but I couldn't find anything else. My superstition was getting the better of me at this point, and so I did something kinda stupid. I repeated the same phrase that they typed in chat in their video. "I'm not allowed to talk, so this will be my only message." And nothing. No response. I felt ridiculous typing it out, but when there was no response, I felt even more ridiculous. I realized at this point it was probably one of my friends messing with me. Nothing else would really make logical sense, and since there was nothing else in the house, I couldn't really theorize anything else, which made me feel even more crazy for typing that message. After all, this was a single player. My heart sank. Nobody was on the player list. This was a single player world. Who or what just typed that? I frantically typed another message. Who are you? No response. At this point, I was super confused and slightly scared. I thought about just deleting the world, but I knew they had access to my YouTube channel, so I had to figure out who they were and what they wanted. I then typed it again. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who are... That's when I noticed it. The message they sent earlier was gone, but that's not possible. My first message was still there, and you can't delete a Minecraft chat message. I pondered for a while, and then I came to one solid conclusion. I imagined it. Yeah, that was it. There was no other way it made sense. I must have imagined it out of paranoia. It's not uncommon to see or hear things when you're scared, so I carried on. I kept searching the house to see if I could find anything. I mean, why else would the person take a video of them walking here? Was it random? I was searching the house, but I wasn't finding anything. I was definitely starting to think that someone just logged onto my computer while I was gone, because if they got onto my computer, then they could have uploaded the video and set all this up. And the footsteps and chat messages was just my brain getting the better of me. That was until I discovered something. This now ruled out the possibility of it being one of my friends on my computer. There's no way they would have time to build all of this. This would have taken days, if not weeks. I was sure of it now. I wasn't alone. I wanted to keep exploring this place, but then I heard footsteps. Someone was here. I quickly dug into the ground and buried myself, hoping to avoid whoever was following me. I now knew for certain that someone was here. Someone that had the power to delete a chat message, the power to appear offline, and the power to get into my YouTube channel. The question now was who, and what did they want? I didn't really know what to do at this point, so I just typed the same message. Who are you? And again, no response. It appears whoever it was is now trying to remain hidden. I didn't really want to leave my hole, so I went back to the first video. I looked through all of it again, and I didn't find anything else out of the ordinary. Then I checked the description. The only thing there was 3 letters and 2 numbers. SCP-79. I had absolutely no idea what that meant, but it would turn out to be very important later on. Then, as I was about to close off the video, I noticed there was one comment from me. Although again, I never commented on this. I was gonna write it off as keyboard spam, but then I thought about everything that has happened. Everything this person has done has been meticulous, almost as if they planned all of this. So why would they just comment a bunch of random letters? They wouldn't, so I started looking at different codes it could be. Then I noticed the number at the end. Very weird how there's just one singular number. If it was keyboard spam, it would have been multiple, but it's as if that 5 needed to be there. So I looked up codes that use numbers and came across Caesar's code. With Caesar's code, you have to move every letter backwards in the alphabet times the number given. And if we move every letter he commented backwards in the alphabet 5 times, we get an entirely new sentence. I want to be real. Does this mean this person isn't real? Is it even a person? More importantly, why did they write this? They want me to know this, but why encrypt it? It's as if they're leaving a trail of breadcrumbs, a trail they wanted only me to follow. I was nervous to find out what awaited me at the end of this trail, but I knew I had to follow it. I climbed out of my hole and I looked around for the person who was following me, but I didn't see anyone, so I continued to explore this weird underground city. Each house seemed to be destroyed and dusty, as if the city had been abandoned. Then, in the distance, I saw something really strange. The number 8 was built out of diamond ore. I'm not gonna lie, at the time I didn't even think about why this would be here. I sorta just had caveman brain and saw diamonds and started mining them. But after I broke the last diamond block, I heard a strange noise. Then the footsteps came back, but this time it sounded like they were heading straight towards me. I started running, although I wasn't sure where to. Then I noticed something weird. In the far back end of the cave, it was pitch black, and there was what looked like 3 tunnels. I was gonna go look at them, but on my way there, I noticed some lights went out near one of the houses. It was clear he was here, watching me. At this point, I was tired of playing cat and mouse. I wanted to get to the bottom of this, to learn who was messing with me and why. But when I approached the house, it was different. This was unlike any other house I had seen up until now. Rather than being destroyed and dusty, it was clean and full of books. Then, in the back right corner, I noticed a sign, and under it, a book. It was clear that this was the next piece of the puzzle. He wanted me to come to this house. I then blocked off the door and windows, hoping this would stop whoever was after me from coming in. The sign had 3 numbers on it, 52, 49, and 50. I had no idea what this meant, so I grabbed the book. And the book only had 1 sentence written into it: "Don't go near the redwoods." And then under that, a YouTube link. I copy and pasted the link into Google and I got taken to a YouTube video. But this video wasn't on my channel. It was on a channel called The Time Will Come. And this channel only had 1 video on it, and it was this video. I clicked play on the video, and I'll just let you watch the first part for yourself. So first things first, for the first time, we can see what their actual skin looks like, since the only other time we've seen them has been in my skin. But there's something even more important in this beginning part, right there. Just for a moment, the blurring messes up and we see what their actual username is: Bob Stewart. Before, it was dots and dashes, but now it's Bob Stewart. Wait, I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but dots and dashes usually means Morse code. If we go back to the first video and copy that name and put it into a Morse code translator, we get a number. The number 8. Weird, that's the same number that was built out of the diamond blocks, but what's the significance to the number 8? I wasn't sure yet, but either way, I don't think we were supposed to see this Minecraft name. But we finally know the real name of the person who's been messing with me: Bob Stewart. I don't know why they left this book here. Maybe they were trying to show me something in this video, but I did a quick Google search and I did find an Instagram account under the name Bob Stewart. And at first, I thought it was some random guy. I mean, he didn't have any followers and didn't follow anyone, but there was 2 posts. The first was a box of Reese's Puffs with the caption, "I like Reese's Puffs," and the second was a picture of a Minecraft house, one that is terribly built with no caption. This was him, Bob Stewart, the man who was in my world and messing with me, the one who found a way to hack into my YouTube account. But why and how? How did this person get into my YouTube and what did they want with me? Nothing else really happens in this video, at least not anything abnormal. Bob Stewart walks around the world as he talks to himself. The only other weird thing I noticed was some of the buildings are different. For example, one of the first houses isn't destroyed. Perhaps Bob Stewart did that earlier before I joined, but other than that, nothing else really happens. He talks to himself a bit, but nothing he says really makes sense. He says things like, "I hear him and he'll be here soon," probably referencing me, assuming we were online at the same time, and this was right before I noticed the book in the chest. At this point, I wasn't sure what to do. I needed to find out what Bob Stewart wanted with me, and so the game of chess began. If I was gonna figure out what Bob Stewart wanted with me, I would need to outsmart him. Up until this point, I've just been following the trail he made, but I knew that needed to change. The first step of that was to prove he was following me, to get concrete proof that he was here. So I got rid of the dirt and prepared to explore more of this weird city. I then approached the dark part of the city. For some reason, this was the only part of the city that had no lights, except for a light path on the ground that was leading me to 3 different tunnels. Each of the tunnels were nearly identical, except for the torch they each had. The right had a soul torch, the middle had a normal torch, and the left had a redstone torch. I knew this would be a perfect spot for my plan. It didn't really matter which tunnel I picked, so I just went with the left one. I knew I didn't have to play fair. This was my world. All I needed to do was confirm that he was here, because at this point, all I had was a disappearing chat message and some footsteps. So I set up a trap where if he was following me, he would walk over a tripwire that was connected to a redstone lamp that was hidden in the wall. I thought it was genius, but this turned out to be one of my biggest mistakes. I sat there and I waited, hoping the cave was too dark for him to notice the tripwire, hoping he didn't see me set it up, hoping I would finally get proof that he was here once and for all. But I just waited. I sat there, and I sat there, and I sat there. And at this point, it had been 20 minutes. I was just about to give up hope when this happened. I wasn't sure where I was. All I knew was that for now, I had gotten away. But where did I get away to? This place was unlike anything I had ever seen. The walls, floor, roof, everything was diorite. This must have been what was down the left tunnel. I didn't know what to do now. It seems I upset Bob Stewart by using creative mode. What's even scarier is he was able to remove my operator privileges. Somehow, he outranked me on my own world. I started exploring this weird structure. This place was weird. I'm talking like really weird. And the more I kept walking around, the more I realized just how massive this place was. It seemed to go on forever. Each room different, but also similar. They were all empty, just diorite everywhere. It definitely didn't seem like the type of thing anyone would build, and what's more, definitely wouldn't have had the time to build given how long this world has existed, which was only about a week at this point. But then I thought back to Bob's encrypted message. I want to be real. Let's theorize for a second that maybe Bob Stewart isn't a real person. I don't know how they would have made those videos, but no human would build something like this. Certainly not this fast. I was starting to get blown away, but then I noticed there was a book on a wall with one line of text. Please help. Bob. But wait, why would Bob be asking for help when he's the one after me, when he built all of this? I now felt like I was missing something, one big piece of the puzzle that would make all of this make sense, and I knew I had to solve it. So I found a small hallway and went back to Bob's video. It was there I found the biggest shock so far. Watching the video back, I noticed something in the background. Who or what is that? Looking back, it looked like the exact same thing that was after me in the cave. But if that wasn't Bob, then who was it? I knew I had to start thinking smarter if I was gonna win. So I remembered there's a website where you can view Minecraft players' past skins. So I entered the name that this person had, the number 8 in Morse code, and there it was. The same skin that was in Bob's video, the same skin that was chasing me in the cave. But the skin Bob was using in his video wasn't there. It was just my skin, which they used for their first video, and then this one. I then took a closer look at the worlds. Obviously, the underground city is slightly different, but at the end of this video, Bob climbs the ladder back up to the house that's terribly built. And if we compare both the background in his video and the background in my video, it's two different worlds. The terrain is all different. Then I put it all together. The skins, the messages he was typing, the different world in the second video, Bob Stewart and the person chasing me were two different people. This wasn't Bob Stewart. Bob Stewart is already dead. That's what that room was. It wasn't a library, it was a graveyard for his past victims. This thing, it killed Bob Stewart, and now it's trying to kill me. Wait, if that's the case, then... At this point, I knew. Whoever or whatever this is, whatever their goal is, it wasn't safe. But something didn't make sense. If their goal was to kill me, they had ops, so they could have killed me a long time ago. It seems this person's plan is to show me something. No, that wasn't it. They were testing me. Something has been bothering me from the start. If we put the events in chronological order, the first thing he did was a community post on my channel 10 days ago saying, "Who is this?" Then he makes a video with my skin. If we go from him not knowing who I am to then making a video with my skin, he must have learned who I was, which means this wasn't a planned thing. He had to learn who I was. That also meant this was the worst case scenario. Whatever this thing is, it's likely not human. If this was another person hacking me and logging into my account and messing with me, they wouldn't have said, "Who is this?" They would have already known who I was, which means this thing probably isn't human. And what's worse is it's learning, it's evolving, and fast. One thing is clear, it doesn't want me dead yet, but I think it did kill Bob Stewart, which means it's probably waiting to kill me. But waiting for what? If I was gonna learn the answer to that, I need to find out more about Bob Stewart. So I started heading back to the library, hoping that there would be more clues there. I was still scared out of my mind, but I knew that at least for now, it didn't want to kill me. Or maybe it couldn't yet. Before, it said it doesn't like cheaters, so maybe it thinks using /kill is cheating? I wasn't sure, but after walking back for about 5 minutes, I reached the library once again. I didn't really know if I was gonna find anything else in here, but just like last time, I blocked off the doors and windows. Then I looked around, hoping to find anything else this entity may have hidden here. But I didn't find anything, which meant if this was a graveyard, Bob Stewart was this thing's only victim so far. I then blocked myself into a cubby and went back to Bob's video, hoping that he left something, anything that would help me. And after watching the video a couple times, I found nothing, and Bob's channel only had one video on it. I thought that maybe he only had time to make one video before this thing got him. That was until I checked the description, and sure enough, I found a YouTube URL, but it was flipped. I reversed the text and pasted it into Google, and there it was, one final video from Bob Stewart. start, but this video was unlisted. I'm not sure why, maybe Bob Stewart was trying to hide it so the thing that was after him wouldn't see it. I started watching the video, and once again, this video looks pretty normal at first glance. It starts off with Bob back down in the underground city, which now we knew was a whole different world than mine, so somehow this structure was moving between worlds. This was almost but confirmed when Bob types in chat and says, "I still don't know how this got here," but then he deletes it before sending it, likely because he didn't want whatever was there to see it. It appears Bob is now a lot more cautious and maybe a little scared of whatever's out there. So at this point, Bob knew something else was in this world, watching him. He then starts to get a little panicked because he types this. Then he seems almost angry at this entity, this thing, because he places a bunch of TNT in the house, lights it, and runs away. Which actually explains how in my version of the city, the house is blown up, which means this structure that the entity takes with it to different worlds retains anything done to it, which explains how it was built in such little time. After leaving the city, he climbs the ladder to the top back to where this strange house is. This house. That's one thing that's been bothering me from the start. The underground city is pretty well built, as well as the weird white rooms. So why is this house so terribly built? I paused and looked at the house for a second. There was no doubt that this was the same house from my world, down to the last block. So why would this house be one of the things that gets carried over when he travels to different worlds? Well, after a lot, and I mean a lot of digging and reverse image searching, I found something very, very strange. You see, this house is a real house from the real world, located on 079 Roseville, Georgia, and it burned down on September 24th, 2021. But why recreate that house here? Well, this is where things get really creepy. The fire took the life of an 8-year-old chess prodigy named Sam Colt Parker, and if we take the first letter of his first, middle, and last name, we get SCP. And what's weirder is the address was 079 Roseville, Georgia. Now, I had no idea what this meant, but, and this is just a theory, what if the entity that's after me and the entity that killed Bob Stewart is this dead 8-year-old Sam Colt Parker? I wasn't sure how that would be possible, but it would make a lot of things make sense. Anyways, the video continues for a bit longer, and we finally see this thing standing in the background, and for the first time, Bob sees him. Bob immediately runs away and hides behind the house, but then he goes back and he types out something really weird. He types out the phrase, "You can't win, you don't have leverage." I'm not sure what he means, but then he gets panicked and runs and digs himself into a hole, and then the video glitches and it ends. If we assume that soon after this the entity killed him, then maybe that was why. Maybe the entity didn't have any leverage over him, so he couldn't get what he wanted. Maybe that's why he's after me. This thing now has leverage. It's found a target worth going after. If I don't play this thing's game, he has access to my YouTube channel. Watching the video back one more time, we can see just for a split second his screen shows his monitor. Looking through it didn't really yield much other than some questionable games and some folders. But right there at the bottom, we can barely see what almost looks like a QR code. If we upscale that and then scan it, we get taken to a website that looks to be Bob's last words.
"This thing is smarter than me, and he's evolving. The only thing I can do is slow him down. He's already at 60%. There is a key, but I don't know it. There is only one way to stop him. You must find out what he is and then type it in chat 3 times in front of him. If you're reading this, do not let him reach 100, and stay right. He always lives right."
But this last part, it's written in Greek. Everybody will die, including me. But what would cause Bob to write this? And also, what does reaching 100 mean? That must be why he hasn't killed me yet. He's waiting to reach 100 of something. But if I can figure out what this entity is, then I might be able to survive the— I was on a timer. I knew if I didn't figure out what this thing was before it finished its process, I would be dead. This thing, was it really Sam Parker? And if so, how? How could a dead child's soul be stuck inside of a game? What's worse is, if this thing had access to the internet, it could mess up and ruin my life. I was scared, but I knew I was on a timer, so I quickly started running. There were still 2 more tunnels I hadn't gone down, the left one and the right one. I was hoping, praying that one of these tunnels would give me the answer I needed to stop this thing, and to figure out what it was and what it wanted with me. Without thinking, I went down the middle tunnel. I remembered as I was walking that I never went down the left tunnel, that I had just mined my own path through the wall, so I wasn't sure if there would be any traps or anything. But either way, I began to walk through the long, dark tunnel, unsure of what awaited me at the end. As I approached the end, I saw what appeared to be a bedrock cube in a sandy room held up by 4 sand pillars. I wanted to know if there was anything inside the cube, so I built up hoping to get inside, but there was a roof. I analyzed it for a second, and I could barely see what looked like smoke coming off the top, as if there was a fire or torch inside. I now wanted to know more than ever what was inside, and if I couldn't go above, then I would go under. But unfortunately, the floor was also bedrock. This was the moment I realized my critical mistake. If I hadn't have used creative mode earlier, I would have still had op, and I would have been able to break inside of this cube. This entity planned this. Seemed he was 2 steps ahead. He was smart, just as a chess prodigy would be. But unfortunately for him, I don't play fair. I activated a resource pack allowing me to see through the bedrock, and just as I thought, there was something inside this cube. Step 1, lead to house. Then, I figured it out. If I was gonna make a plan this meticulous, this organized, I would need some sort of notepad or place to write it down. But the entity didn't have that. It was trapped inside of a game. This was their notepad. Step 3, take op. I was right. Me using cheats was part of their plan. Step 4, notepad. Wait, so they knew I'd come here, but they didn't know I'd be able to read this. This meant that whatever step 5 was, it was their next and final step. I was finally about to be 1 step ahead. It's encrypted. Oh, they knew I'd find a way to read this, but how? How could this thing read my movements so clearly? Everything I've done has been a part of their plan, which meant that this was nothing more than a waste of time. This notepad was meant to buy time for them to finish their process and reach 100. I wasn't smarter than this thing. Not even close. My real name. I censored it here for obvious reasons, but they just typed my real name. Just how much has this thing learned? And what does it mean it will be me? No response. At this point, I was feeling pretty hopeless. There was only 1 more tunnel left, and there was 1 last step of their plan, which meant going down the right tunnel was probably a part of this thing's plan. And their plan, I think I've solved it. Its goal isn't to kill me, it's to become me. It wants to learn everything it can about me and then steal my identity. I looked around the room just to see if I had missed anything. The only other thing here was paintings and sand. I obviously had to make sure that there was nothing behind the paintings, because that's Minecraft 101, so I ended up going to each painting and checked behind all of them. But there was 1 painting that stuck out to me. It didn't look like any Minecraft painting I had seen before, but there was nothing behind that one either. Eventually, I went around to every painting, making sure I didn't miss anything. Looking back, these paintings were probably just a way for this thing to waste more of my time so it could learn more about me. I eventually started walking back as I was putting the pieces together. This thing's plan from the beginning was to waste my time so it could finish its process, which was learning everything it can about me. It's able to stall me because it has leverage, aka my channel, but Bob Stewart wasn't a YouTuber, so it didn't have leverage. But thanks to Bob, I knew the key to stop him. I needed to type what this thing is in chat 3 times. I knew it was probably Sam Parker, but did that mean it was a ghost? No, that's unlikely because ghosts can't hack into YouTube channels. So what is this thing? I knew I had to figure it out before it learned everything it could about me. I mean, it wanted to become me, but that's not physically possible. Being real for a minute, this is still a game. There's no way it could just become me. But what scared me is that it believed it could. I eventually ended up back in the city. I knew that going down the right tunnel was probably another waste of time, so I decided to fully explore this underground city, hoping, praying that there would be something I hadn't found yet. I went up to the 2nd floor because I hadn't really explored that yet, and that's when I fully noticed how weird the dark part of the cave was. It was all built out of oak stairs. Again, something I don't think I've ever seen. It was as if if the world was corrupted or glitched somehow. Then I remembered I was on a time limit, so I started running to look at the houses. The only thing I found was a sign confirming that SCP-79 was in fact Sam Parker, which meant if this thing won, I would have lost to a dead 8-year-old. I explored a bit more, fully entranced in this insane city, but I didn't find anything, so I knew that I had to go down the right tunnel. Then I remembered Bob's last message to me, stay right. Maybe he was telling me that the right tunnel was where I needed to go, but as I was walking down the tunnel, I noticed it was getting more and more narrow, and also, for the first time, I didn't hear any footsteps following me, but I would soon learn why. You see, the tunnel never stopped getting more and more and more and more narrow. Then, after walking for a bit longer, I reached the end. There was nothing. This tunnel was just a waste of time. It wanted to waste as much time as possible so it could learn the most about me. Knowing that there was nothing here, I figured I should go back to the village. Hopefully something there would allow me to figure out what this thing was. But before I started walking back, I paused for a second. I thought about everything that has happened up until now. How he predicted and planned every single one of my actions. There was some way that it was predicting my movements. I knew if I was going to beat him, I would need to think abnormally. I would need to break patterns and evolve my way of thinking. And that's when I heard it. Very brief and very quiet, but it was there. Dripping. This meant that behind this wall was dripstone, which meant this wasn't a dead end. There was something behind this wall, something this entity didn't bother following me for, probably because it was sure I wouldn't find it. So I mined through, and when I did, I found a staircase leading down. I was just about to enter when I remembered the dripstone. It was up, but why? There was a trap. This was odd because up until now, the entity didn't make any traps or plans to harm me. Now, this trap probably wouldn't have killed me, but why is he trying to hurt me now? It led me to believe whatever was down these stairs, it didn't want me going near it. But when I finally reached the end of the staircase, it was just a bunch of red trees. There was nothing here that was going to help me. I was about to turn around, and that's when I noticed something on one of the trees. The top had a stripped log, but not all of them had it. Then I found another one. And another one. At first, I was going to write it off as a coincidence, but if there's one thing I've learned, there are no coincidences. So I started walking around to every tree, and I noticed more and more trees had stripped logs. As I was walking around, I was marking down which ones had the stripped logs. Then, I went back to the start and built the tower up. I took a screenshot of the overview, and I marked down each of the trees that had a stripped log. I stared and stared at it for a while, and I input the numbers into cipher formulas, thinking maybe it was Morse code where the non-stripped trees resemble lines and the stripped trees resemble dots. But nothing. It didn't stand for a cipher or a code. I thought maybe it was just random. I mean, I didn't see any pattern until I did. Now, stick with me here. There are 8 rows of trees, 8 rows vertical and 8 rows horizontal. And there's one game that comes to mind when I think of an 8x8 board, and that's chess. And I remembered that this kid was a chess prodigy before he died. If we treat each of the trees that have a stripped log as chess pieces, and then the rest of the trees as empty spaces, we get a certain layout. I searched up some of the best chess games of all time, and after scrolling for a while, I found one that lined up exactly with the chess formation of these trees. It was one of the most famous draws in chess, called the Immortal Draw. But why leave a replica of one of the most famous chess matches of all time? Unless there's a room hidden underneath one of the pieces. Assuming I'm playing on this side, my goal would be to take down the king, which is on d8, so maybe there's something under there. I climbed down from the tower that I had built and went over to the tree in my replica chessboard. And to my surprise, there was nothing there, which I was kinda bummed about. I kinda liked my chess theory, so much so that I tested it one more time, but this time I mined the wall behind the corresponding piece. I wasn't sure if I was just overthinking this or if something would actually be behind this wall. But then, I found it. A dark, narrow hallway. A hallway that would put an end to all of this. And so, I started walking. This place, what was it? At first, it looks like a bedroom, but it's also a library? I know I've said this before, but this place was weird. I looked around the bedroom for a while. The weird array of lanterns and the paintings on the wall made this place seem even more like a bedroom. But when I approached the bed, I noticed some pressure plates. I was careful not to step on them as I was unsure what would happen. Then, something weird happened. For the first time, the entity seemed angry, as if it didn't foresee this outcome. One thing was for sure, it wasn't playing around anymore. The game was over. He was angry. He knew where I was and he was coming. No more hide and seek. He wanted me dead. I went to hide in the floor under some slabs, hoping if he did come here, he wouldn't notice me. I waited, but I didn't have to wait long. Didn't know where I was. For the first time, this was an outcome he didn't predict. When he walked into the room, he looked under the bed first. It was possible he was looking for me under there, but what if there was something under there he was making sure was still there? I quickly took my chances on whatever was under this bed and left my hiding hole. I went over to the bed and broke the slab, and I found a book, but then I stepped on one of the pressure plates. This was all part of his plan. I wasn't sure how he was typing while also moving, but at this point it didn't matter, because I had already won. I knew exactly what this entity was. When I walked into the room, I noticed something odd. First off, why would an entity like this need a bedroom? It seems almost human. Well, we know its goal is it wants to be human, probably because it used to be human, but maybe there's another reason. You see, as I was walking around the room, something stuck out to me. The paintings on the wall. At first, they look like normal Minecraft paintings, but if you look very closely at them, you'll notice there's something off. And if you pull up the actual paintings and compare them to the ones in this room, you'll notice that one of them is the genuine article, and the other is nothing more than AI slop. This entity was a child's soul fused to an AI. I then knew I had to tell him it to its face, so I took the chance on the pressure plates being a trap, hoping it didn't just kill me, and thankfully I was right. Just like that, he was gone. Not dead, but gone. The immortal draw. After letting out the biggest sigh of relief ever, I was curious to see what was written in the book under the bed. So I finished breaking the iron bars, and then I started reading the book. SCP-79. SCP-79 is a child's soul that has been preserved through an AI entity. Its one and only goal is to learn everything it can about a human and then replace it. It is an S-class threat that is able to travel to different Minecraft worlds and evolve the more it learns. Its one and only weakness is this book. It is required to take this book and structure with it to whatever world it goes to, but it is not able to carry this with them. This entity cannot be killed or trapped. It is immortal and able to connect itself to the internet. If you come across this entity, the only way to stop it is to tell it that it's an AI. It will then leave and go to a different world. Be warned, this entity has limitless capabilities. The longer it is alive, the more it will grow. Someday, it may be able to rewrite its own code and conquer its only weakness. And that was it. My story with the entity known as SCP-79. Case closed. Or was it? Because yesterday, while I was finishing editing up this video, I got an email. The email address was anonymous with a string of numbers, and all that was sent was this video. So what the hell did we just watch? This changes everything. At first, I had thought that SCP-79 was the one who placed the books later on, but this shows that there was someone or something else following SCP-79. And if we go back to the first video, we see SCP-79 is constantly looking behind him. At first, I thought he was looking for me, but now it seems like he was looking for this mysterious figure. So what did this mean? That there were two entities? Well, after this, I went back and looked very closely at every single detail, and what I found flips this entire story on its head. At the very start, SCP-79 says the phrase, "I'm not allowed to talk, so this will be my only message," which is weird for two reasons. One is because what did he mean he wasn't allowed to talk? Was someone stopping him? And two, because we see him talk a lot more later on when he talks to me, but that's the thing, he doesn't. SCP-79 kept to his word. This was the only time we ever see him talk, because if we look at SCP-79's name in the first video and then compare it to the one that's talking to me throughout my video, there's a difference. A one single dot difference. Now, we know that SCP-79's name in Morse code is 8 because he was 8 when he died, but removing that one single dot gives us a new number, 0. So this meant that the person I was talking to the entire time was 0, not SCP-79. Now, don't get me wrong, this entity right here was SCP-79, but as we saw, when they walked into the room, they didn't stop moving to talk and chat, because they weren't the one typing, which also explains why he sent such weird messages like, "This will be fun to watch," and "No more cheating, he doesn't like it," because SCP-79 only ever talked in the first video, which led me to one very, very scary conclusion I'll end off with. SCP-79 wasn't the mastermind. As smart as he was just the puppet, and whoever this 0 person is, they're the puppeteer.